Well, Darren, when we spoke last week, I said we were back to anybody can beat anybody, and it's happened today, but the wrong way round.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to make sure I'm respectful to Kings Lynn because of their, the difficulties and the season they've had. But we really did sort of give them that one in whichever best way I can use my words to describe it. But when you have two bad passes that are intercepted, that gives you a problem straight away.
Sure. It's a bit like we've gone from champagne and caviar to pie and chips in space of 9 days. Is that unfair?
Yeah, I think it's unfair because I think, I think we're telling the same story that the supporters, the club have had all season. Brilliant result, followed by a poor one. Brilliant result. To only have 4 draws in 42 games is, probably tells you that we're either all in or we're all out. And that's the biggest test that I have, because if we're going to bridge a gap, you have to draw games when you've not been great, including here today. If we'd have got a point here today, I'd have said it was a poor performance, but we got a point. Every time you get a point over a season, they just top up, and eventually at the end of the year, they accumulate to keep you competitive. And that's what we have to do. We have to make sure that if we can't win games, we definitely don't lose them. And we definitely don't lose them in a manner where, we create 2 out of the 3 for the opponent.
Yeah. You made a lot of changes to the team today. Is that part of your having a look at everybody, giving everybody a chance?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, they work very hard in the week, the players. And I want to make sure that they feel they're being given a fair crack of the whip. I think if anyone here was interviewing as such, practical interviewing for a job next year, they'd like an opportunity to interview. And I think that's the most important thing, is that players have the opportunity to be interviewed and assessed, and we work out where we go from the end of the season.
And so presumably you will continue doing that in the 2 games you got left, will you?
Well, I think you have to learn with every game, and I think you have to work out relationships that do and don't work. And we saw some relationships today that were very, very different from last week and the weeks before and the games before. And so, I don't think they can, this is not participation football. It's not football for all. This is still professional football. So I think you learn. And that's what the whole point was, is that 8 games, learn. We've had some brilliant wins. We've had a really poor defeat today, the worst of all the 6, by a mile, completely. But it means we learn. And if it doesn't happen again, if that mistake's not made again, then it's been, for me, over a course of a 46-game season, it's been a worthwhile process.
Normally when a manager makes more than one change at half time, it's a bit of a statement. Was that you making a bit of a statement?
Not to George and Tyreek, absolutely not. But I just thought that we had we lacked another dimension, a physical dynamic, definitely, to our play. And Rowan Ince is as good an athlete as we have in the group, and Rowan and Innie, has a stature and a physicality that means that you may not have to play the ball through the thirds as much as you had to before. So I thought it was important that we did something, being 1-0 down, even though we've again given that 1 goal away, and there was probably multiple chances first half to score, which we didn't take. And I thought we created more chances second half because of the additions, for sure.
The half-time interval was extended because of illness in the crowd. Did that have any effect at all, do you think? I know it's the same for both sides. No.
And by the way, we send our best wishes to that poor individual that suffered that way.
Right, okay. So you've got 2 games left, as we've said. Again, a game against Eastleigh is one of these games where no one's going to go up, no one's going to go down. So I guess that's right for experimentation. Chesterfield could well be secure in the playoffs by then. We can't go up or down. So again, that could be another opportunity for you to test people out, if you like. Are you viewing it like that?
Maybe. I need to see things. I need to take things that I've not seen, of course. But I think when you give opportunity, and I'm trying to manage all the times that Rowan plays or Anderson plays or Solomon. So that at the end of it, we've been fair. We've been harsh, but we've been fair. But you look at things like now, all of the defeats have been without Rowan Ince. That's the one common denominator in the 3 defeats, no run-ins to start the game. So maybe that's something that's gone its course now, and Rowan needs to play the next 2 games to ensure that we're as competitive as possible. I think I'd be mad not to work off of that understanding or statistic. So, but again, Rowan knows where I am with him in terms of next year. He knows my thoughts. We've had lots of good conversations, and I just thought the ones that hadn't maybe had the opportunities Rowan had or made the imprint Rowan had, I thought they needed, a lot of them needed to have that opportunity. But again, you've got to learn which relationships work and which ones don't.
Sure. Finally then, how far down the road are you to making your mind up about the current squad?
Well, they're all different because they've all had different ams of opportunity.
So you're not there yet then?
Well, not with all of them, no, because they've not all had opportunity. Some of them may not get an opportunity if things on the training ground don't change. But the ones that know my feelings. The ones that need more time will get more time, and we'll work. They're still getting paid, and they still get paid beyond the last day of the season. So we are very much still the employer for another good 2.5 months. We're very much in control of that.
Right. And finally, apologies for having another finally, have you got a sort of hit list, target list of players that you'd like to bring in, specific individuals?
Of course.
Okay.
That's the only way I've ever worked. You have to headhunt. How do you replicate or project your strategy or your vision without headhunting the right athlete, character, technician, footballer? How do you ever get there if it's just let's see what's left and we'll take that? So no, those processes began the day I walked through the door, and I'd like to think we have a very, very good team next year.
Let's hope so. Many thanks for your time.
Thanks.